In the Rocky Mountains, Canadian Pacific's railroad crews must haul the most challenging load of the season.
We're way off here, Willie. We're way off here.
Cross country.
We're concerned about the car back there. God only knows what could happen.
While track crews scramble to stay one step ahead.
It's the weight of a battleship, and it's just pounding the track bed down.
"2,500 kilometers east of the Rockies in Thunder Bay, Ontario, dock workers are unloading a unique piece of cargo that will test the railroad and its crews to their limits. This giant Urea reactor is more than 33 meters long and weighs a colossal 210 tons, nearly 2.5 times the weight of the space shuttle. The steel cylinder will be used to help manufacture nitrogen-based fertilizers, critical for Canada's agriculture industry and exports. Just getting it from Europe to Thunder Bay via the Great Lakes was a huge challenge.
We're 2,300 miles inland, so it's farther to sail from the coast to Thunder Bay than it is to cross the Atlantic. 16 locks lift the ship 602 feet. So it's quite a remarkable engineering feat to get this far inland with an ocean ship.
It will take the port crew all day to prepare the reactor for loading before Canadian Pacific's railroad crew can haul it across the country. The transport journey actually starts in the Rockies. From Revelstoke, rail crews will guide a mixed manifest train 2,400 kilometers east on a milk run. The train will stop in dozens of locations along the way, dropping off and picking up cars until it reaches Thunder Bay. There, it will pick up its most precious load, the Urea reactor, and then carry it 1,300 kilometers west to Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. The first of several crews that will take on this cross-country challenge heads east out of Revelstoke.
Let's do some railroading.
Engineer Geordie Hunter is at the helm, and riding shotgun is Tom Waver.
Because Tom essentially is the boss. Right. I'm his chauffeur. Yep, Tom's the boss.
I'm the boss if I get promoted to a locomotive engineer.
Well, we have train 400 today. We picked it up at Revelstoke. It's heading east through to Thunder Bay.
Geordie and Tom are driving a mixed manifest train to pick up the reactor.
Mixed manifest trains are, to me, more interesting than standard bulk trains. All types of different cars.
So it's the dog's breakfast train.
Yeah.
You know, there's lumber cars, tank cars, so all the weird stuff is on there. And sometimes we have to follow restrictions and keep an eye on certain things because it's an exception to what we usually deal with.
In Thunder Bay, project manager Willie Gavinchuk is gearing up to lift the 210-ton reactor off the ship.
Grab that side.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, we got the forklift here right away. We can slide it.
It's so heavy, 2 shipboard cranes will be needed to lift and lower it onto a pair of custom-made flatbed rail cars. Engineers have fitted 2 special metal plates called bolsters onto the cars. These rotate and slide forwards and backwards. The reactor will be welded to these plates, distributing its weight across the 2 cars. The rotating plates allow the 33-meter-long reactor to pivot and slide independent of the train's direction as it navigates tight turns. Without the moving plates, the welds could snap and cause the train to derail.
This assembly here, the large plate on the bottom and the narrower plate on top is a bolster assembly. This plate slides, has 14 inches of travel, so that when it travels down the railway tracks, that slot allows it to go around curves on the tracks. What I want to do is I want to get it centered before we put a load on it. We're very close on that. No, I think he's got to go a little bit.
Just open up this fork.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, I can see both lines anyways.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
It's looking good.
In the Rockies, Geordie is settling back into the controls for the long trip ahead. He's been off exploring his railroading roots. Geordie's great-great-great-uncle, George Stephenson, is known as the father of railroading.
Well, I took a month's vacation, and I went to the United Kingdom. George Stephenson designed a locomotive in 1829, and they called it the Rocket. I wanted to see the actual locomotive because that's what started it all. I saw the rocket, and that was in the London Museum of Sciences, so to me that was something special. The design of Stephenson's locomotive is a design that's been carried through to this day with steam locomotives.
I'm the only one in my whole family who works on the railway, actually.
Scanner's going off.
Just as Jordy and Tom get up to speed,
147, start track, 1 degree, axle 560,
they run into trouble.
no alarm.
560?
560, 1218.
A trackside sensor called a hotbox has detected something wrong with an axle in one of their wheels.
And we have a clear signal.
They're only 150 kilometers into the journey, but have no option but to pull over into the rail yard at Golden for an emergency inspection.
86.3 east, clear to stop.
Oh, I guess we are stopping.
Perfect.
Okay.
The locomotive maintenance team gets to work, trying to find the source of the problem.
We're looking for missing brake shoes, burnt off brake shoes, missing broken parts.
Diesel service attendant Tom Broder prepares the train for inspection.
I need to put the train in emergency so that we can work on it, and also to ensure that it doesn't roll away anywhere. And that is now locked. Nobody can drive this train. We're lock flag disabled. Train's in emergency on the south end, over.
Copy that, we're line locked, blue flag up on the north end of I-track, over.
Hey, thanks, Dougie. Okay to go to work.
Rock and roll.
Maintenance engineer Dan Van Diest starts at the front end locomotive.
Inspect, make sure there's nothing broken, cracked. Everything looks good there. And we'll start walking around the side of the locomotive here. This is your sander here. These apply sand with air. So when the rails get icy, we can apply sand to the wheels, which gives it better traction. Springs are good. We also want to be checking our wheels. Wheels are very important. If you get a high flange, there's a chance for a derailment. Okay.
Railcar mechanic Greg Polipchuk thinks that he's found the defect that set off the hotbox alarm.
Got our wheel here.
One of the wheels has a dangerously worn flange and needs to be replaced.
So just gauge the wheel with this gauge. It's a bad order wheel for a high flange. So Kate's gonna call it in as a bad order, and this car's gonna get set off.
Got a wheel for you here?
For now, Jordy's train isn't going anywhere.
Let's go.
In Canadian Pacific's rail maintenance yard in Golden, BC, one of Jordy and Tom's train cars urgently needs a new set of wheels replaced, so it can travel onward to Thunder Bay to load up the 210-ton fertilizer reactor.
Back up and we'll take her in the shop.
It rests on the shoulders of mechanic Ken Sutter
A little more.
and his new rookie, Caitlin Rayome,
Okay.
to swap out the colossal wheel set fast. The train runs on 200 pairs of solid steel wheels called a set. Each wheel set weighs more than 1,300 kilograms. Every wheel has a rim on its inside edge called a flange. These keep the wheels safely locked between the rails. But after billions of revolutions, carrying millions of tons, the wheels wear down. Over time, the height and thinness of the flange increases. If it becomes too high and too thin, it can ride up over the rail or snap off, derailing the train.
I'm working with Katie, and basically we're gonna move the car down to the jacks, jack it up, and change a wheel. If you want to pull that first one out.
Yep. I am an apprentice railway car mechanic. I've always been a tomboy. I've always wanted to work at CP. My dad, my grandpa both worked at CP.
Got her?
Got her.
Okay.
I'm technically a third generation. Pretty excited about it, actually. We're gonna lift the end of the car so that we can roll the truck side out from underneath.
And there we go.
I'm swinging over the jib crane so we can lift the side of the truck so we can put a new wheel in.
We'll roll this under, and then we'll just lower it down. That one went good. All right.
So basically the whole truck's gonna roll right back under again. Coming down.
Okay. There we go.
Everything's tight.
Yeah.
You gotta like this system. It's probably 200 years old and still works.
We better get going here.
With the new wheel set fitted, Jordy and Tom can continue on.
Feels good to be back on steel wheels. Hopefully everything stays smooth and running like a well-oiled machine.
2,500 kilometers east of the Rockies in Cochrane, Ontario. The crew of the Ontario Northland Railway is gearing up to make a crucial supply run for a local bushman and trapper who lives off the grid on the edge of the Arctic.
What time we got here?
3 minutes too.
Nice.
Conductor Jay Faldine is loading up the Polar Bear Express, a service train that runs along this flagstop line from Monday through Friday.
We're just a passenger train going up to Moosonee, making sure everything that we've got to be offloaded, if we have to stop along the way, gets there, and making sure everybody on here gets to where they're supposed to be. Okay, I'm gonna get out of here. Basically, the two engineers up in the head end, they're in charge of the engines and all the coaches behind that. That's mine and Tom's responsibility. And that includes the passengers, making sure that the coaches are stocked with what they need. We've got some solar panel batteries to offload at mile 131 for William Tozer's camp. William Tozer. Local legend is probably a good way of putting it. In the bush, there's nobody that you'd rather be with than William Tozer.
William Tozer, he's one of the first guys I met working this job, and he's, I don't think eccentric is the right word, but he's quite a character, and his whole family, they're a lot of fun to be around, and they're really good people.
We chopped a bunch of holes there. I don't want to step in one. I know it's not a marten. It's not like a beaver. You got him? Yeah, definitely a beaver. They're not worth a lot of money right now. Maybe 40, 50 bucks, if you're lucky. Maybe make some hats and mitts. My mom's Cree. Grew up just down here, maybe 11, 10 miles from here. And up here, we have a lot of First Nations people. My parents and grandparents, they always ran the summer camps. We've been running the camp for maybe 20, 25 years now.
Williams Camp is named Camp Onakawana, but locally it's known as Camp 131 because it's located at mile 131 on the Ontario Northland Railway line.
We started bringing in school groups, teach them about trapping, fishing, some traditional stuff from this area. Hopefully we can get everybody to enjoy the outdoors and their culture again.
Born and bred in the bush, William wants to pass on his outdoor skills to local youth. He's building an education center where he can do that.
The type of activities that they'll be doing in there is beadwork, tamarack geese, and moose tanning, that kind of stuff.
William aims to fit the center with solar panels to save $1,500 a month in fuel costs.
If it works as good as you say it does, should pay for itself in, well, the first year. Right now we're waiting for the batteries. They're going to be coming on the train, and we'll be able to hook everything up and see if it works.
In addition to the solar panels' batteries, William will need to bring in 8 tons of lumber, plywood, and insulation to build his center. The solar panel batteries and building supplies are coming from different sources. The batteries are coming from Cochrane, so Jay and the team will transport them north to mile 131. The building materials are coming from Moosonee and will head south on an overnight freight train. The freight crew will drop off the boxcar into a siding for William and his team to unload. Then they'll have to haul everything 8 kilometers back to camp using nothing but snowmobiles.
If it wasn't for this train, some of the stuff that he has
brought into his camp. There's no other way really to get it to him. A couple years ago, we pretty much brought up an entire brand new kitchen for him. It'd be kind of tough to haul that up here on a four-wheeler.
In the Rockies, ahead of Jordy and Tom's train,
Yeah, we'll get a jack or two. We'll just level it, put it up level.
track maintenance foreman Ryan McDonald is getting ready to right winter's wrongs.
There's some low-hanging ties every time a train goes over it. Kind of a soft spot.
Over time, you get lots of trains over it, and ties settle in the ballast.
The unstable track means this section has a speed restriction of 25 miles per hour, something 24-year-old Green Vest Jesse Dahlberg hopes to change.
My job today is digging the holes, putting rock under the ties. I think I can handle it.
Jesse's role will be as much manual labor as possible. That's what his Green Vest is for.
Jesse has spent the last 8 months working the rails.
I do remember the days of a Green Vest. When I started, the rate of pay was a lot lower, and it seemed like the work was harder. That's how you learn. If you do something wrong, you get picked at, and you don't do it wrong again.
I got a lot more to learn, but I think I'm ready for the orange vest.
Jesse needs to raise up and level out this 3/4 of an inch dip in the tracks.
We're just trying to get the track level all in one line.
Hang on.
Good. Yeah, I've done this lots, and I feel confident. We're working on the main line now, so there's a little bit more urgency. We need to make sure we get the job done in time, so we're not holding up trains.
Outside the town of Golden, British Columbia, Green Vest Jesse and the track maintenance crew are under pressure.
20 minutes. Not a lot of time.
The team needs to raise a section of damaged track to make it level again, so that the speed restriction through here can be removed.
We use lining bar to get underneath the tie, lift the tie, hold it solid to the rail, and the hydraulic tamper just to poke rock underneath the tie.
To do the job, they need to compact the ballast they've added under the tracks to exactly the right height, using a pneumatic tool called a tamper.
Jesse is going to run the tamper.
Nice to be tamping again. The ground's been frozen all winter, and it's a little easier now to get the ties up.
On their journey east to the shores of Lake Superior, Jordy and Tom's mixed manifest train is approaching fast. They're relying on the newly repaired track to help speed them through.
The railway's a 24-hour industry, massive heavy trains. They're always moving, and the track has always got something that needs to be tended to. When you think about it, it's the weight of a battleship, and it's just pounding the track bed down.
We're running between 15 and 20,000 tons, so it has to have integrity.
That's a massive amount of weight.
Ahead, the clock is ticking on the tamping team as Jordy and Tom approach.
Jesse's got good endurance. He likes to run the tamper, usually till he almost falls over.
To hold up the track, the ballast has to be compressed to interlock properly. So it takes focus and force until...
Good there.
Now we're just waiting for some trains to move over the work that we've done.
The weight of Jordy and Tom's heavy train will give Jesse's ballast a final tamp down.
The foremans will look at it and say, the problem is solved, see if I've done my job properly.
If the defect that we tamped stays level, then we will be able to cancel the slope. And if it doesn't stay, we can blame Jesse. This is decision time for Jesse to make sure he did good work. If he didn't do a good job, he's gonna buy everybody lunch.
It does make me nervous. I like to do a good job. I don't like to screw anything up, so I don't want to have to buy everybody lunch.
I like clubhouse sandwiches, French fries and gravy.
If I did my job right, the track shouldn't be too high or too low. Looks good.
Looks good. Looks like that's where we want it. We're gonna be canceling the slope. Jesse did a good job, and unfortunately, I don't get lunch.
Maybe tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow, yeah. Tomorrow is another day.
"2,500 kilometers east. Jay Faldine is heading deep into the Ontario wilderness.
We're about 3 hours from Cochrane and roughly an hour and a bit from Moosonee.
He needs to deliver a critical shipment of batteries to William Tozer.
He's not in the middle of nowhere, but he's pretty darn close. Which up here is kind of in the middle of nowhere. Want to come and grab these boxes for me here, Tom?
I better go one over there.
At the drop-off point for Williams camp, Jay unloads the batteries for Tozer to pick up later.
William knows we dropped this stuff off for him. He'll come pick it up. Probably snow machine and a sled.
What we got planned is get all the batteries connected, no more generator. The railroad wasn't that close. I don't think we'd be able to do what we're doing. We just haul it all back by snow machine.
While William transports the batteries to his bush camp, an hour north in Moosonee, the rest of the building supplies are being loaded up by William's friend, Tony.
All told, we have about 8 tons of materials to move.
Tony Tourville, a Moosonee resident, has organized the donation of 100 sheets of plywood, 48 bags of heavy-duty insulation, and 6 skids of lumber to frame and clad the recreation center.
I'm a builder by trade. I just volunteer my time to help as part of my contribution to the community. I've worked on many remote communities along the James Bay coast, and I've always used the ONR to ship my materials.
The Ontario Northland freight train runs overnight once a week between the towns of Cochrane and Moosonee.
That's it now, eh? So I get a lockup? This is it. We've got all the materials that we need for our new recreation center in the boxcar. The boxcar will be leaving at 3 o'clock in the morning.
"700 kilometers west in Thunder Bay, Ontario.
Try to get it down before the weather gets too bad.
Willie Gavinchuk is offloading the massive 210-ton Urea Reactor ready for its journey west to Saskatchewan.
Looking good.
The huge steel reactor must be precisely positioned onto the specially adapted train cars so it can be welded down for transport.
I'll watch on the front saddle.
The reactor's mounting section, known as saddles, needs to be lined up with the rotating bolster plates on the train cars below.
What if you go back another 10 feet, Willie? I think we'd still be okay.
Everything seems to be lining up.
I think we're going to be close enough.
But as the reactor is lowered closer to the rail cars,
Watch on the saddles.
We're way off here, Willie.
How much off?
2 feet.
Son of a...
in Thunder Bay, Ontario, Willie Gavinchuk is struggling to load a 210-ton Urea Reactor onto the rail cars that will haul it halfway across Canada.
I've got an issue with the cars, Ron. I'll ask your expertise here. 25.9 on the saddle. That is 85 feet, saddle center to center. And the car is 86, 8 1/4. Saddles are good, rail cars are out.
The reactor is fitted with 2 steel saddles, which are supposed to sit on metal plates welded to the rail cars. But the saddles aren't lining up with the plates.
We've discovered that the rail cars do not match up with the saddles. The saddles are in the correct position as per the engineered drawings.
They will have to move one of the bolster plates, but that will take time, and the ship needs to leave the dock now.
The edge here has got to be on that mark there. Just a little bit. Oh, good.
The reactor has to be offloaded, so they need to find a safe way to secure the reactor temporarily and fast.
We're pulling it over so that we get it flush on this edge here. We'll get it positioned, we'll bring it down. Watch your fingers. Easy.
You're good there, you're
Oh,
good there.
oh.
Good there? Yeah.
Let's square the plate up to the saddle. Push the plate a little more. Oh, I got the reactor off the ocean vessel. We've got one end positioned on the rail car.
Finally, they managed to secure it well enough for now.
We're going to secure that to make sure that we don't lose that positioning. So what we're going to have to do is shift the bolster plates, we'll lose about 24 hours in the process.
West of the Canadian Rockies in North Bend, BC, amateur magician Jimmy the Wizard Taylor is settling into his new job on the steel gangs. In just a couple of weeks, he's developed a brand new attitude.
I try and have this enthusiasm about me because I find that when you're happy and in a good mood, it rubs off on people. No matter how I feel, I always have to be in a good mood.
Jimmy now works 500 kilometers from his home in Revelstoke. It's a grueling schedule of 8 days away, 6 days home.
I'm missing the girlfriend, and it wasn't until I got into the car is when I teared up because I bought a greatest hits of the 1980s. They're all breakup songs. The very first song was Don't Forget About Me.
Today, Jimmy meets his new boss, Alina Miller.
I am the extra gang foreman on BC Rail number 1 in the Pacific region. If something out here happens, it does fall on my shoulders.
Her reputation is tough but fair, with an emphasis on tough.
So we're gonna do a head cut here. There's your buddy.
Who?
James.
That's the wizard?
That's his name, the wizard?
Well, I don't know, so you tell people.
And just like Alina, Jimmy's reputation has preceded him.
So I'm gonna make him work, see if he cries at the end of the spot, and if he doesn't, then he's okay in my books.
I just got to keep thinking each day that I can do it. I can come here. Every day I try and shove a smile on my face.
Jimmy will need more than a winning smile to win over Alina Miller.
Get the wizard on it. Jim, your name's Jim?
Yes.
Have you set plates before? You want to place them so they're right here, so that when the plate liner comes along, you can push it into the side.
The steel gang's main job is to replace large sections of worn rail. Once the worn rail has been removed, the steel plates that fasten the new rail to the ties must be repositioned. And to speed up the process, they use an automated machine called the plate liner to make sure the plates all line up.
Curtis, can you show him how to run the plate liner? I am throwing Jimmy, the wizard, on the plate liner. So it basically keeps the gauge for when the steel's laid.
The trick is to never fall behind the machine,
Oh, there's more plates.
which is nearly impossible when the plates are upside down.
Leave it, leave it.
They're leaving plates upside down for me and backwards and every which direction just to get to me. Playing jokes on the new guy, I'd most likely do it too to the new guy on the plate setter.
You gotta test it out, right? See if he can hold up to the game.
After 90 meters on the plate liner, Jimmy's test for the day is over.
That it?
But Jimmy still has a long way to go before he proves himself on the steel gangs.
We get a lot of new hires that quit straight off the bat. Passion and dedication and taking pride in your job that makes you progress forward.
I hope she sees me as a tough worker. I want to definitely show her that I'm not an underdog. I know a lot of people have their doubts about me. That's why I keep working harder and harder and harder each day, because I need to prove these people wrong.
Having almost spent the maximum time allowed at the train controls, Jordy and Tom are nearing the town of Field, British Columbia.
You know, they say, well, a true professional makes it look easy. Well, that's great. But, you know, this is one of those jobs you can't screw around.
You know, it is a fun job, but at the same time, it is serious because of what we are dealing with.
Yeah.
Their leg of the cross-country journey has come to an end.
Both Tom and I have had a long day. The outgoing crew are going to be taking our train onwards to Calgary, and it'll progressively make its way across Canada to Thunder Bay. I'm looking forward to a little downtime.
Catch a well-deserved nap.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, that's that.
Another successful trip. Job well done.
After you.
No, thank you very much.
In Moosonee, Northern Ontario,
5 more, 18095. 5.
It's 2:50 a.m. The Ontario Northland crew is securing William Tozer's 8-ton lumber delivery on the southbound overnight freight train.
Tozer has a camp at 131. We're spotting a boxcar full of building material so they can build a rec room for the kids during the summer. They get to go there and learn how to fish and First Nation stuff, and the stuff they don't get to learn in school, I guess.
Yeah, we're all set to go now.
I'm First Nation. My mother was a Cree. She's from up north, about a mile down the track there. My job is a conductor on the railway. I'm a conductor on freight from Moosonee to Cochrane. And I basically just in charge of the train, getting the clearances and make sure we run safely.
ONR detector.
Just as they get going,
Hot wheel, east side, axle 4, 5. Total defects 2.
Well, we got a hot wheel on the detector, and I'm just going to get off and check the 10th car.
a trackside detector that monitors the temperature of the train's axles as it passes has registered a hot wheel, triggering the in-cab alarm.
A snug handbrake. That was loose. And that's the problem. Just a snug handbrake that we missed on our initial inspection.
The parking brake wasn't fully disengaged, so the friction against the wheel caused it to heat up. Luckily for Phil, he caught it before any serious damage was done.
Almost there. You can get the cut, Thomas, so I'll get the switch. One lap, 09. We'll put the car in the siding where we think he can get it the best.
The crew will leave the building supplies in the boxcar overnight so that William can pick them up in the morning.
And that's it. We're gonna head back into Cochrane. We're done with the box. And like I say, we won't touch it again until William empties it out.
In Thunder Bay, Ontario, Willie and the team have worked through the night to move the bolster plate to its correct position. Now, they're racing the clock to weld the reactor to the rail cars for its 1,300-kilometer journey west to Moose Jaw.
We've got the welder securing down the saddles to the bolster plates. We were in lousy conditions yesterday in the rain and the sleet, and it was very difficult to get a good weld. We're ready to roll, and they'll get it to the destination safely.
The new crew, conductor Stephen Olshanovsky and engineer Conrad Party, get set for the epic journey west across Canada.
The load is 40 mile an hour today. We can't exceed 40 mile an hour. Usually we'd be 60. So it's gonna take us a little longer to get home today.
The cars carrying the massive reactor have been securely hitched to the mixed manifest train.
If a load goes around too tight of a curve, it can pop off. That's why it's on those special cars. They have a dimensional notice. Dimensional shipment is one which exceeds a maximum standards of size, weight, and/or height of center of gravity as established by CP. Did you learn something today? Well, I knew it, just, you know, not in those particular terms. High, heavy, wide.
Conrad and Stephen's leg of the journey may be across flat prairies, but with loads this big, the risks are still high.
We're concerned about the car back there. We look back, and when we stop, Steve checks it out, and when he's walking by, just as a visual, just to make sure nothing's broken. And we keep a good eye on it. If you have a crossing accident and you hit something big, God only knows what could happen. That weld could break on that car. God help us, it don't happen.
"700 kilometers to the east, Ontario Northland Railway's crew have successfully delivered William Tozer's boxcar of building materials. But before William picks up the rest of the timber and supplies, he wants to test the solar panels to see if they work. First, he needs to charge up the batteries.
So they never really installed one before, but they said they got all the instructions and that, so.
His friends from the local community have rallied to help out, including local Evan O'Rourke.
Heavy?
The batteries store excess electricity generated from the panels for when the weather doesn't play ball.
The solar panels are a pretty good idea. I mean, green energy is good. Save on some fuel on the generator, and save on Mother Earth. You gotta be good to her. She's a nice lady. How much fuel do you think it burn in a year, Willie?
Between 1,000 and 1,500 a month. Yeah.
Holy smokes. Yeah, so this is well worth it. So yeah, not having to bring in fuel by sleigh and whatnot from the train to here. And time and effort. Willie's not a spring chicken anymore.
Now we're gonna put the panels up. Wow, you guys are really doing it.
It's coming together quite well. We're getting pretty close now to connecting everything together.
Oh, I hear a noise.
We should be making power now.
With the batteries charging up, they head out to unload the 8 tons of lumber and building supplies. It's an 8-kilometer trek through the icy wilderness to the site where the rail crew dropped off the boxcar.
Here we are.
When we do something like this with the boxcar, we try and get it unloaded as quick as possible. 5 miles, we transport everything by snow machine. We use flat sleighs, toboggans, whatever you can call a good load. We like to have 4 or 5 guys helping us. We had warm weather the other day, and the trail's pretty lumpy now because we rutted it up by driving on it. Now it's froze like a brick and it's very rough.
It will take dozens of trips through the snow to shuttle all the supplies to the camp.
My finger, 2 of them, I got smashed in between 2 logs the other day.
Nice and swollen.
Yeah, it's got a big knob on the end there now. Look at it. Not even straight anymore. Looks like a set of skis.
Living the dream.
Hauling up to half a ton per sled over the rocky, uneven ground is tough work in -30 conditions.
We're gonna leave it here until we're ready. Probably middle of May, maybe. 3rd week in May. We'll cover it up.
It was a blast, but I don't want to do this again.
The team plans to build the recreation center when the snow thaws. But the new solar power system is ready to test.
Here we go.
Can you turn it on or what?
Here we go.
We have power. Solar power. Look at that.
Nice.
Out west, Conrad and Stephen are hauling the 210-ton reactor across the prairies.
Now you pull it through the siding delete.
That is correct.
And their train is about to get a lot shorter.
There's a potash mine up there. We're going to deliver about 75 potash cars, empties, so that they can come down and grab them and go and load them.
Loud and clear, 1041.
We're about to take the siding, and I got to jump off right now and do some work, set those cars off.
Derailing. Lined up for track 3.
Derails off, we're lined up for track 3. When we come in the siding, I got a certain amount of distance to stop this train. Stopping for 11.
Need to go.
Breaking up the train like this is called switching. Their first task is to release the link of 75 potash cars. Then Conrad uses his locomotive to shunt the potash cars onto the side tracks where mining crews will pick them up. This maneuver takes precision driving and a steady hand on the throttle to prevent fishtailing the train.
I'm trying to watch that load. That load is real heavy.
The gigantic reactor, straddling 2 rail cars, makes this task even tougher.
I gotta know everything, like I gotta be watching everything. I don't know if it does much to the wells, but you would think some stuff is gonna weaken after a while. This merchandise is pretty expensive stuff. Millions of dollars, probably.
On the Canadian prairies, in Saskatchewan, train crew Conrad and Stephen are dropping off 75 empty potash cars on a siding for a local potash mine.
I'm off CFX 1041.
Conrad has to reverse the 1 kilometer-long section of potash cars into the siding without damaging the valuable reactor.
Look ahead, CFX M41.
Done. Yeah, we got a medium to clear, we're good to go. Train's a lot lighter now, went very well. Now we'll go over to the moose jaw.
The train may be shorter and lighter, but they still have 100 kilometers to travel with the 210-ton reactor.
If I look back and I see some smoke back there on that load, we would stop, check it out. Based on what's wrong with it, we would go from there. There's different things you can do, right? If it's a hot wheel, there's certain corrective action we can take, but if it's a hot bearing, then we have to immediately set off the car.
It takes 2 hours, keeping one eye on the rails and one on the load, to guide the reactor west. Finally, the town of Moose Jaw rolls into view.
It's good that the journey is over and we got to do it safely. This is the end line for us.
Just gotta tie these brakes on to secure the train. If I don't put these on, the train could potentially roll away. Done.
The reactor will be collected and taken to its new home. This crucial component will contribute towards the millions of tons of urea fertilizer Canadian plants produce and export across the world each year. Canadian Pacific's railroad crews navigated across half the country, through massive mountains.
This was from a windstorm.
Was it?
The whole thing.
Wow, is that ever awesome?
And vast prairies
I got to know everything, like I got to be watching everything.
to make this unique delivery.
That's it, guys. We're done for the day. Thanks for riding with us.
In Northern Ontario, after 5 months of hard work, Williams Camp has a new addition. The Recreation Centre is almost ready to host its first youth groups.
We got probably 95% done now, and we got another week on it maybe. So it's going to go right here, and hopefully it'll heat the whole building. And the rest of it we'll use for whatever group is here and whatever they want to do. Solar power saves us a lot of money on gas as opposed to running with a generator all the time. With our panels, should be able to run all these buildings on green energy. We should be self-sufficient. In the last few years, there'll be a lot of interest bringing youth out or school trips, and we're getting a lot busier. So they'll have a place to go and get outside more and, you know, learn part of their culture for years to come, hopefully.
In the Canadian Rockies,
It's go, go, go all the time.
as spring heats up,
It's gonna start getting busy around here.
an emergency track fix,
It's a little tricky when you're working on the main line.
dangerous rail work,
Steel don't have mercy on skin and bones.
and a monster breakdown.
Every minute that this unit is sitting still is costing thousands of dollars.
Test the skill of the teams as they battle their way through the mountains.
This isn't just a Sunday drive, it's serious business.
Deep in the Rockies,
We gotta go.
a brutal winter has left the mountain tracks weathered and worn.
It just beats it to death. The ties split, the track gets out of gauge.
Canadian Pacific's rail repair crews urgently need to access the tracks. But so do the freight trains.
Now that the snow's gone, the crews are gonna start showing up in full force.
Yeah.
Think of the railroad as its own little ecosystem. Like in nature, everything depends on everything else to survive. We depend on the track gangs. These trains do have to be at a certain point at a certain time.
The repair crews now have just 6 weeks to replace a staggering 130 kilometers of track, while the trains keep running. It's a perfect storm.
wasn't any indication from the incoming crew, mechanical issues or not?
No, there's not. It says your chair leaks air.
Veteran engineer Geordie Hunter and conductor Tom Waver are settling in for a 200-kilometer long journey through the mountains.
You make your trip miserable.
Yeah, I'll be deflating. You'll see me slowly going up and down.
Geordie's chair might be uncomfortable, but their partnership isn't.
Geordie and I have been working together for about 2.5 years, on and off. Geordie's responsible for running the engines and handling the train, and I'm here to help him with anything he needs. And at the same time, I'm learning stuff from him because he's been here 6 times as long as I have.
We're on a 16,000-ton grain train. We have 3 locomotives, 2 on the head end, and I have a mid-train remote locomotive. We're moving 119 cars of grain. This train originated out of Swift Current, and it's going to the coast, and from there the grain will be loaded onto ships, and it'll go all over the world.
On board is a $5 million load of canola grain for cooking oil production. To make their delivery, Geordie and Tom must guide the mammoth 3-kilometer-long train west from the town of Field. They'll need to dodge track crews replacing more than 100 kilometers of damaged rails and navigate winding mountain passes before descending into the rail yard at Revelstoke, British Columbia. Final destination, the Port of Vancouver, where dock crews will offload the canola onto a ship bound for Asia.
Things are starting to warm up.
The snow's all melting.
But high in the mountains, there's still plenty of it.
Now the spring's here, it's constant maintenance. There's always men and machinery all over the place, replacing the rail, replacing the ties that have been beat up over the last winter here, so it's going to get pretty hectic here.
Ahead of the canola train,
I'm gonna say another 7 or 8.
crew boss Bruce Moores and his 6-man team are gearing up to roll out massive new lengths of continuous welded rail.
This train, we pull the rails off. This train is 1,850 feet. The rails itself is 1,440 feet.
Wherever the rail is worn, they drop new rail for another crew to install across every section or sub in British Columbia.
I'm the rail train supervisor for all of BC. We start off on the coast at Vancouver, and we lay all the rail for each sub. We're on the shoe swap sub, and we got 60 or 70,000 feet to go here.
In the mountains, curved track gets damaged the most by banking trains, so replacement rails are critical.
The rail train is one of the most important jobs because you can run trains with bad bellows, you can run trains with bad ties, but you cannot run a train without steel. So you need the rail to run the railway.
To drop the rail along these curves, Bruce's crew needs a heavy-duty winch. It pulls the 33-ton rails onto a series of rollers that guide them down alongside the track. Their extreme length makes it possible to bend them around curves, but it's still a precarious process. If the weather is too hot, the rails will buckle. If it's too cold, they'll get brittle and break. Compared to straight track, it takes 3 times as many spikes to hold down curved rails to take the force from cornering trains.
And when you come to a stop, that'll be good. We are at the work site, so now we're going to start pulling the rail down. Okay, Peter, dig the hole. We dig a hole between the ties, and then we put the chain in, and we chain in the rail. Okay, work train, proceed eastward. 3 feet to tighten the chain, up to 3 miles an hour for 3 cars, over. Once the train gets going, the rail will stay with the chain, and the train will pull the rail off on the ground. Okay, work train, rail's moving, up to 5 miles an hour for a dozen. 1, 2.
It's a painstaking process, where one mistake could spell disaster.
This is one of the most dangerous jobs because when the train is moving and the rail is moving, something jams up while the steel is on the bend. We see rail breaking off and shooting in the ditch. The rail's gonna go somewhere because it's steel, and steel don't have mercy on skin and bones.
"100 kilometers east, high in the snow-clad Rockies.
Mountains up. Restriction is 10 miles per hour.
We're coming up to a 10 mile per hour slow right now.
Yeah.
Jordy and Tom get a signal to slow down, but they don't know why.
Communication here is very important. We need to know what's going on at all times, so we can make a plan as to how we're going to operate the train.
Mile 119.68, north track. Signals may not be in place.
A major delay could hold up the canola delivery to the waiting ship. But until they know more, it's a frustrating crawl.
I hate driving 5 miles an hour. I don't like driving 5 miles an hour on the highway, but when it comes to slow orders on the tracks, we have to be paying attention to what's going on.
Just 40 kilometers ahead of Jordy and Tom.
Mechanical.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, Chad.
I got a locked axle for you to take care of on the north main.
Roadmaster Chad Deschamps races to the source of the slowdown.
We have a train with a locked axle, and it's causing congestion on the Shuswap sub. It's a big urgency to get that broken down train put away and fixed.
This broken down locomotive is stuck on the tracks.
Hey, Chad.
How you doing?
Not bad.
It's up to head mechanic Bill Barterson to figure out how to get this paralyzed 200-ton locomotive off the rails fast.
If it's too far gone, we'll get a crane in here and I'll have to lift it up off the ground.
Closing in on the rescue crew.
We just got word that there's a train ahead of us with a locked axle. I've had lots of breakdowns on the track. Some pretty spectacular ones, too. I was working with a good friend of mine. He was working as my conductor, I was the engineer. And the whole train did a lurch, and he says, "Oh, look at that." And I looked back, and the second unit was erupted into a 50-foot fireball, and we brought the train to a stop as safely and quickly as we could. Fuel had gotten into the crankcase, I guess, and pressurized it and ignited and blew everything apart. I can officially say that I had a hand in killing a locomotive.
Jordy and Tom are headed straight for the dead locomotive.
So we'll see how this goes. We've just started out, and we've already got delays.
At the breakdown site,
Basically like a flat tire.
Bill sizes up the problem.
The axle locked up, and obviously the wheel wasn't turning. The amount of friction that's created with the wheel not turning will wear out the metal, causing a flat spot. Flat spots will damage rail. Every minute that this unit is sitting still is costing thousands of dollars.
To fix the flat, Bill taps diesel mechanic Dan Van Diest to help do some heavy lifting.
Because it has a flat spot on it, we have to put a new wheel in so it doesn't do any damage to the track. So they're rigging up all the lifting stuff. We're gonna lift the front end of the locomotive, one crane on each side, and then we'll yank this thing out of here. It's go-go until you get it complete and get out of the way as fast as you can.
It's a risky job hoisting a 200-ton locomotive 5 meters off the track. Bill and Dan need 2 cranes to make the lift, so the wheels can be rolled out. They'll position a 120-ton boom crane on the south side and a 120-ton excavator crane on the north. For maximum lifting power, they need to get close. They also must lift in sync from a solid footing, but that won't be easy. The excavator crane will be sitting on uneven gravel that's lower than the boom crane, so the team has to level it on blocks. Keeping the load even as they lift is key. The slightest tilt of the 200-ton engine could force a crane to collapse.
Okay, let's just try this.
Let's put another 3 right there. Okay, I'll see what happens here. Yeah, looks pretty good, eh?
Okay, Jake, right there. We got to get it quite high, and then they'll drop the wheels out, drag them out, and we'll put another set under and lower the train back down.
It's a little tricky. Just gotta stay vigilant, stay safe, most important thing.
We got a lot of hazards around here. We're on the cuff for time. We got 2 hours. It's a huge responsibility, and you feel stressed, but now you just keep moving forward. Get it done, get off the track without something going sideways.
In the Rocky Mountains,
How's it look?
the hoist crew is under the gun to get a broken down engine off the tracks.
Ready?
They need to work fast, so Jordy and Tom's canola train can pass.
Stuff that runs 24 hours a day is going to eventually need repair, and sometimes it's a pretty spectacular event.
Off we go!
The cranes take the 200-ton weight.
Level.
Okay, there. We level?
That's good.
I'm gonna drive forward now.
With the engine balancing 5 meters in the air, the crew hauls out the faulty 6-ton wheel set.
It has a flat spot. As you can see, it's been overheated and the wheel's been skidded on the rail.
The easiest and quickest fix is to put a dummy axle and then take it to a shop.
There it is, boys.
Next task, drag the temporary wheel set into place.
All right, I guess in we go, eh? Let's do it! Yeah!
The new dummy wheel's getting put on right now.
It's probably okay, we can come down.
As the cranes lower the engine,
That's good.
Dan and Bill need to connect the new wheels.
How are your springs sitting?
Good!
Yeah, I think mine's not quite in there.
So you're going up a bit?
Yeah, just a hair. I want to make sure the springs line up bottom and top. You take some of the weight off, smack it into position, and it'll tell you when it's in place. Okay.
That went really well, it's quite quick, so now we'll get this buttoned up and get out of their way.
Unit's okay to move, they'll get set off for repairs.
We didn't hold up any trains, and they can have the north track back and continue running trains instead of dodging us.
As soon as we cleared, there's already a train coming by.
Okay, we got some guys up here.
Yeah, no, they're in the clear now. Anyway, track looks clear, eh?
Yeah. Waving to anyone trackside that works for the company is an acknowledgement of the fact that they're there and they're doing a job to keep us all moving.
Just as Jordy and Tom get back up to speed,
8766, throw 500 gallons in all 3 units, please.
AQ 8766 west out.
There's our mid-train fueler.
On a clear to stop.
Clear to stop.
they're called off the track for a fast fuel up.
We call it the splash and dash. We don't quite have enough fuel to make it all the way to the coast, so we're stopping here in Golden.
The 3 engines powering this train can carry up to 15,000 gallons of fuel.
We don't want to sit here and fill it right to the top. It's not necessary. So we're going to put in 500 gallons, which is all we need per locomotive, and then we're gone. This truck here is capable of filling 2 locomotives at the same time. So it's a little quick splash and dash, and we're out of here. He's just about done. We got a signal, so we better get going here.
further down the line from Geordie's train and heading towards it.
You guys didn't see the interstate?
Bruce and his rail delivery crew are hunting down a marker showing where to lay the next curved rail.
Usually we got a stake to go by, but I got to judge myself where I got to take it to Bay Rail. Okay, work train, come to an easy stop, and I'll see where we got to tie you. There's none marked here. But you can see the Bay Rail up there. So I got to tie into some good rail. So we're going to tie in right here. Okay, work train, nice and easy.
Each rail weighs 33 tons and is as long as 4 football fields. Their extreme length makes them awkward to handle. But these massive steel rails revolutionized the railway. In the early days, lines were built from 10-meter-long pieces of rail bolted together with joint bars. Over time, as freight trains got heavier and longer, the multitude of bolted joints would loosen, opening dangerous gaps between the rails. The uneven surface made the ride rough, forcing trains to slow down or risk a derailment. By the 1960s, there was a solution. Longer rails with fewer joints so trains could run smoother and faster. The super long rails are assembled here at Canadian Pacific's plant in Winnipeg.
These are 80 feet in length. We're going to weld 18 80-foot lengths together. It'll equal 1,440 feet. What we're doing is we're producing continuous welded rail. There's going to be no joints in that rail.
The welds need to hold, so they're tested not to break until reaching 600,000 pounds of pressure. Every one has to be strong, but also smooth.
When it comes out of the welder, we're going to make sure that that weld is ground to the proper spec. This is our final quality check. He's going to verify the integrity of that rail, make sure that it's straight. So the rail comes out of our inspection building here. When rail comes out at this length, it's really like a big piece of spaghetti. We could bend that rail into almost a full circle.
Keep her going, work train.
Bruce is working as fast as he can, but the next length he needs is undersized, so it needs a time-consuming cut.
I got the list here how much footage I need on this curve. That's where we make the torch cut. John, get the water pump going. Okay, get on the hose.
The crew needs to hustle
And work train, come to an easy stop.
without cutting corners.
We're always working in a dry area. This will go up just like gas. It'll catch that fast. So we water down the area that we're cutting. You don't want to burn down BC.
This spring, lightning has triggered the majority of the 100 wildfires burning in the British Columbia interior. And fire season is just getting started. In these conditions, it only takes one spark to start a fire.
Charlie, grass burns.
On the edge of the Arctic wilderness, the Ontario Northland Railway is a critical lifeline for people who live in Canada's icy far north.
It's important, you know, they're so isolated, all the communities up the coast with the First Nations.
The train is the only way to transport essential supplies, equipment, and people back and forth.
Another 6 or 7 cars, 18.4. You got to be able to work outside in the elements and not mind doing that. There is a physical aspect to it, especially in the wintertime when things freeze. It kind of challenges every part of you.
Today in Moosonee, the crew is preparing the train to travel south to Cochrane.
Just checking things,
For conductor Sheldon Renault, everyone who steps on board gets first-class care.
Did you want to go in one of the, like one of the built-in crates, or do you want, because I do have a plastic one there too, whatever you'd like. The dog is a little hesitant to get in the crate, but once we get rolling, it almost lulls them to sleep. We got some little kittens that are going out. They're going to be up for adoption, and we bring them out, and something that the ONR does with this animal welfare group. We bring them out on the train to Cochrane, and somebody will pick them up and find adoption homes for them. This is a fun part of the job when we get to have the little ones with us.
And they're not the only special passengers boarding today. At the youth center in the nearby town of Moose Factory,
This would be our big drum.
Ryan Wesley is preparing to take the train to a powwow near Cochrane.
A powwow is like a social gathering. It's like a time of healing through the weekend. The whole point of the drum is to get the good vibes out to everyone, right?
Ryan's drumming group is called the High Ridge Singers.
We have 11 guys that sing with us. We're all currently away from each other because attending school. Every time we meet up at a powwow, it's always really nice because we've been doing this for about 9 years, and there's a really strong relationship between every single person within our drum group.
Once Ryan and the other passengers are on board, the train will set off from Moosonee heading south, traveling 300 kilometers across the ice-packed Moose River, through the wilderness to reach Cochrane, Ontario.
There's going to be a lot of people going to the powwow on the train because it's quite a big gathering, and there'll be a lot of excitement for that. This way, if they happen to get out of their little crate, they'll still be okay, and Mama can keep an eye on them. And we're off, on time.
West in the Rockies.
Oh, man.
Jordy and Tom are powering their 16,000-ton canola train through the mountains towards the town of Revelstoke. But 100 kilometers in,
Here's hoping that we can get through.
they hit a stretch of rough rail.
These trains beat the track up pretty good, and it doesn't take very long to wear the track out. It's not going to be just as smooth as butter.
That's not reassuring.
No. Basically, the contact point between the wheel and the rail is no bigger than a dime. Through continued passage of trains, it wears the head of the rail flat, which starts to create more friction.
And there's an even bigger obstacle ahead. The track crew delivering new rails.
Hot rail there coming at you.
Are you kidding me?
As Jordy and Tom close in,
One crazy day.
Bruce's team hurries to drop the new rail beside the track and get out of the way. They complete the cut
John, shut the pump off.
Shut the pump off.
and get moving.
How we making it, okay? We're just dumping rail here. How long do you expect it to be?
It's a very busy line, especially the single track because it's only one track. You're down to 20 feet.
To speed things up,
They're called quick hooks.
Bruce needs to rely on an old-style technique to drop 2 super long rails in a row.
Ease her up a little more.
But it's not without risk.
If you do it too fast, it'll break right here. So you gotta go slow.
To the west of the Rocky Mountains,
You're down to 7 feet.
rail train supervisor Bruce Moores is wrestling a kilometer of steel into place.
Ease her up some more.
But he's running out of time.
Ease her up. Okay, that's nice. Keep her going, just a crawl. Keep her going, keep her going. And the hook is made, 2 for 2.
For 2.
It's done. You gotta get back a lot more and let this train come. just one of those days. Freight trains are gonna make the money. That's the railroad.
They retreat to a siding just in time.
I've heard us referred to as the royal family here on the train because we wave from the window, you know. We keep the trains moving, but if it wasn't for those folks, nothing had moved.
As the snow thaws, repair efforts amp up. Ahead, this team is about to tear up the tracks to insert new wooden ties under the rails for support.
First day back on the cruise. Want to get out there and change some ties.
31-year-old Amanda Simak is a rising star on the tie gang.
Hey, good morning, everyone. We're gonna be changing roll plate ties. Expected production, 350 ties today. All right, let's have a safe day.
Marco, are we putting the truck on?
Yeah, no, that's a good idea, thank you.
I've been with CP for about 2.5 years now. Before that, I was a legal assistant.
Amanda brings that drive to work. She just jumps on machines if I tell her to, and she operates them.
Are you ready for your first stint on a tie crew?
Yes, I sure am.
Today, Carrie Watkins has been paired up with Amanda to train on the spike pullers.
Today they're going to be changing ties. This is like a big string of machines and they each have a job to do. The front machine's the puller and I'll be learning how to run the puller. It pulls the spikes out of the ground so that the ties can be pulled out from under the rail and then replaced. This is the machine you had last year, right?
I had the puller last year, yeah.
Being a woman on the railway is challenging. It's really hard work, it's physical.
When you first come out here, it's pretty difficult because you have a lot of people that think you can't do it. So you have to prove yourself.
Women have only just joined the front lines. 100 years ago, all male crews had their own challenges. Without machines, the gangs jacked up the track by hand. Using long iron rods and tongs, ties would be tugged out like bad teeth, before spikers hammered new ones into place. It was back-breaking work that today takes only minutes with machines.
I've never operated a machine on my own out on track before, so it's a little stressful. I feel kind of nervous because I'll be the front machine and everyone will be behind.
It's really up to the pullers to set the pace for the rest of the crew. It's a lot of pressure.
We gotta go.
Heading out. Let's do this. Let's go.
An experienced puller can remove 10 spikes a minute.
Just trying my best to keep up to the crew and deal with the stresses around me and everything.
They say that the rules are written in blood, and I hope I don't ever have to see somebody create a new rule out here.
Oh my God!
3,000 kilometers east, in northern Ontario,
I always look forward to Timmins Paw.
the Polar Bear Express is taking Ryan to an important powwow.
We usually take the train, and that's our main way of getting out of Moose Factory, because all the other ways, like a plane's expensive. Ontario Northland have been giving us complimentary tickets because what we stand for is a drum group that wants to promote a healthy lifestyle. We probably do about 10 to 12 powwows every year.
The tradition of powwows dates back thousands of years to the practice of war dances before battle. Over time, the ceremony evolved into an important social gathering that included drumming and dancing. In 1876, the Canadian government outlawed the ceremony until Native groups restored it in the 1950s as part of their cultural heritage.
We're just coming up to Moose River Bridge. That's why we're slowing down to go over the bridge here. And we're gonna take a look and see how the ice is breaking up. It can have a devastating effect on the shoreline. None of this was here yesterday. This is all new. In some years, it really affects the bridge pillars. It looks to me like building up around the pillars, there have been years when they've had to dynamite the ice because they didn't think it was gonna break up properly.
If the ice breaks up in huge half-ton chunks, they can push against the bridge supports with extreme force. Dynamite has long been the only way to break the ice into smaller pieces that won't damage the bridge.
Hopefully we're okay to go over it and be able to do track speed and not be late.
In British Columbia's Selkirk Mountains,
It's gonna be a good ride.
Jordy and Tom are making good time.
Doing a bang-up job.
No, thanks, Tom. How's my driving, though?
You're not over, it's all good.
I enjoy working with Tom. He knows what he's doing, and he's earned his nickname, 20-Year Tom. He's only got a few years in here, and it's like working with a veteran. I'm trying to make you look good, buddy.
Yeah, it's all good.
I've been called the Jedi, and I'm not sure why.
The train force is strong with him.
Yes, I think it has to do with the train force, which is strong with this one.
Just ahead of the Millennium Falcon, the Thai gang is hard at it.
It's go, 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 all the time.
In the lead, Amanda and Carrie are under pressure to help replace 350 wooden ties in 8 hours.
You don't want to slow the crew down. You don't want to slow down production.
To change ties efficiently, an army of 15 machines must work in perfect unison, a process they call lockstep. 2 spike pullers set the pace, extracting 4 spikes from every tie. The scrap loader rolls up hot on their heels. It has a magnetic belt that collects the old spikes. 2 powerful tie inserters follow closely behind. They pull out the old ties and push in new ones. Next in line, a brigade of 8 machines clean, compact, and fix the new ties into place. A final machine, the regulator, then regrades the track bed to finish the job.
Every machine has its purpose.
But just as the rookie closes in on her goal,
The machine just turned itself off.
the operation grinds to a halt.
Who knows if it'll even start again.
West of the Canadian Rockies,
You can see here the track's been all dug up.
Jordy and Tom are closing in on the Thai gang work zone.
Clear to medium there, Tom.
Yeah, clear to medium signal. Weather and mountain conditions has a huge effect on this track.
Yeah, now the spring's here, everything's going from a frozen state to a thawing state. And then the ties split, the track gets out of gauge, and the potential for derailment is always there. So you got to really be careful.
8766 west.
I'm gonna slow it down a bit.
Stop to Wakely.
Just ahead,
We got about 15 machines waiting to go to work.
mechanics arrive to try to get Carrie and the rest of the Thai operation back up and running.
It looked to me like it came out of here.
Yeah, it's split right there.
Okay, yeah.
The whole goal is to get the work done, but don't hold trains. We're here to make sure that trains can run. That's our business, right?
They race to replace a faulty hydraulic hose.
There's a coil that shorted out inside, and it started burning, but she didn't realize it. Basically, it just started going up in smoke.
The moment of truth. Everything's fixed. It started fine, so I can finally get on with things.
Are you good to go? Yeah, I'm good. Okay.
As the crew gets moving again, Amanda pitches in to help Carrie catch up.
Should I continue on the left, over? On the left.
Okay, thank you.
Friendships on the railway are so important. They get you through a lot of hard days.
Job is done. Okay, you're all finished. Everybody, travel into the clear, travel safe, over.
Okay, on the move.
They need to clear their machines off the track fast so Jordy and Tom's train can pass.
We cleared up just on time and 15 seconds to spare. Today's a good day.
It makes our day longer when they start doing track work. You know, I want to get home, so does Tom, but you know, the track has to be repaired, right?
Yeah.
In Ontario's far north,
Our temperatures are good and the coach is.
the Ontario Northland train has just crossed the Moose River Bridge on its way to Cochrane.
Want to make sure everything's good on the train. Just checking the bathrooms, making sure that nothing's wrong.
And Sheldon needs to check on a hockey game.
We have to call the rail traffic control, check the score of the game.
RTC. Yeah, so the start of the Montreal game, Sheldon, like you know. I'll check and call you back in a few. All right, thanks.
RTC's going to call us back and let me know the score of the Montreal game. Hockey's the lifeblood of Canada, really. You ask anybody, especially Northern Ontario, it's huge. So this is our new coach, Coach 650, with our monitoring system. Everything's telling us it's good, but we still have to test it, just so that we know everything's working properly. Tempo okay. It's going to run through all the wheels on this coach. If the danger light's on, it means there's something wrong with the wheel. We're going to stop the train, check the wheels. And everything's normal and everything's good. Temperatures are good.
Going 18 knots forward.
And here's our highlight from the half game.
Montreal 2-1, just about to start the second.
That's really good news for us. All our monitoring systems are working and the Montreal Canadiens are winning at the moment. So far so good on this trip. We're about 3 miles out of town.
One last bridge,
Nice 4-hour ride, yeah.
and they pull into Cochrane.
The kittens are here. Hopefully they can find adoptive homes for them. Well, the little ones are in here. Good? Excellent. To be a railroader, it means you get to see a lot of places and meet a lot of people, but you don't usually get to watch too much hockey, so I'll have to maybe rush home and get to catch some overtime.
South of the Cochrane train station in Timmins, Ontario.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for the 16th annual Northern College Traditional Powwow, we call upon our host drum, Highland Singers.
Ryan Wesley has finally made it to the ceremony to be reunited with his drum group.
Now the powwow is underway. You get to see different styles of dancing.
Every dancer tells a story, narrated by the singing and drumming circle.
I haven't seen the majority of the guys for about 5 months, and it's really nice to be able to sing together. It really makes the powwow a good place to be.
The train has brought them together, but it's their traditions that keep them connected.
Come
3,000 kilometers west,
It's downhill all the way to Revelstoke.
Jordy and Tom are coasting towards their last destination.
This is a job where you always need to be in control all the time. It's almost like a beast you have to tame.
It is, yeah.
And Jordy's got all these little tricks that you can't learn from anybody else. He's forthcoming with the information, and stuff like that really helps out.
Well, thank you, Tom. That was nice.
No, there is some legitimacy to that. It helps me out, you know, to make me a better railroader, as I'm sure guys previously have helped him to make him a better railroader.
It's a team effort all the time. Feels good to be getting home. We've had a long day, but the grain's in good shape. We made it through the Rockies, some of the nastiest, treacherous terrain in Canada, but we're gonna see the lights of Revelstoke here shortly, so our day is pretty much done. We're gonna hand it off to another crew who's gonna take it onwards to Vancouver. Job well done.
After a further 600 kilometers, the train pulls into Vancouver's port. Workers transfer all 16,000 tons of grain into the ship's massive hull.
Just tell them to start slow. That's it there. Beautiful.
This delivery will head to markets as far away as Asia. Canadian Pacific's heavy haul canola train has done its job. Thanks to hard-working crews who've kept the railroad running, they've dodged a broken-down locomotive, along with weathered and worn-down track across the mountains.
I'm very proud to do what I do.
We're operating some of the biggest machinery that moves across the face of the earth. It's a pretty neat feeling to be given the responsibility to operate such a massive piece of equipment.
Best job in the world.
In the Rocky Mountains,
Yeah, they're ripping. That wasn't cool at all.
railroad police in hot pursuit.
There they are right there.
A challenging bridge overhaul.
Something's binding there. Jam, eh? Oh my God. If we don't get those rails in, they're not going to trust me.
And a dangerous nighttime repair.
Down, down.
Threatened to derail a vintage train's historic journey marking Canada's 150th birthday.
Not coming home is not an option.
Every day across Canada, more than 8,000 workers toil to keep Canadian Pacific's fleet of 1,000 freight trains hauling crucial supplies from coast to coast. But today, this crew is preparing a very different type of train for a once-in-a-lifetime journey.
1401, 2 cars. 1401 over.
This is the Royal Canadian Pacific, a vintage passenger train. Some of the cars are nearly 100 years old. Adam Meeks is part of a dedicated team of engineers preparing it for a unique cross-country trek in honor of Canada's 150 years of Confederation.
You're in for a bit of a treat. A train like this goes by so rarely, the likelihood that anybody sees a train like this ever again in their lifetime is practically nil. So we're making history. Nobody has thought of doing anything this big a scale since this railway was built. 2 cars stop short there, 1401.
The luxury passenger cars date as far back as 1914. The 2 locomotives were built in the 1950s. They are the iconic F-unit diesel-electric. The F is for 14 because each one can generate 1,400 horsepower. It took hundreds of hours to restore this train back into working order.
We are dealing with antiques. So in a lot of cases, it's been modernized, but there is still a lot of original equipment in these cars. 1401 stop, good joint, 3 point.
on the cell track.
The train leaves Port Moody with 50 VIP passengers on board, including the top brass from the Canadian Pacific Railway. Engineer Wally Vaninsky and conductor Alan Bodker are in the driver's cab for the first leg of the journey.
Clear signal.
Clear signal. Well, I've worked with CP Rail for just over 34 years now. When I got told I was running this train today, it was a special moment for me.
This lead locomotive that we're currently riding right now was built in 1958.
Yeah, you don't see too many of these engines around anymore.
The Royal Canadian Pacific will travel 4,500 kilometers from Port Moody, BC, to its final destination in Ottawa. The journey will take 26 days, with stops in 13 cities along the way. The stop that matters most is Revelstoke. The Prime Minister is coming to honor the country and the railroad. It rests on the shoulders of Canadian Pacific's roadmasters to make sure nothing gets in the way of this train.
Our bosses put it to us, delaying the 150 train is not an option. We just have to make sure that we just keep moving forward because, you know, It's go time and you only have so much time to get this job done. You know, everybody does try to stay focused. We want to look good. Like, this is a big, big deal.
But this journey couldn't have come at a worse time for the team. The snow has thawed. All the big track engineering projects are scheduled to take place now. In the Rockies, Roadmaster Chad Deschamps is setting up to overhaul this massive swing bridge that passes over a channel called the Sicamous Narrows.
Sicamous, BC. In the summertime, it's houseboat capital of the world, basically, and this is a pretty busy channel. This is a swing bridge, but right now it can't swing. For the fact that we have winter rails in, this water is rising, and it could be any day where somebody phones and says they need to get a boat through here, and we don't want to look bad by not being able to swing the bridge.
Well, we're getting ready to do our bridge job here, waiting on 2 westbounds. Once they go by, we'll get the main track.
"200 kilometers to the west,
14 knot 1 east, clear to medium.
the Royal Canadian Pacific Commemorative Train is making its way towards Chad's team at the Sicamous Swing Bridge.
We have a lot of manpower out here that do work the rail. We're just looking for any debris that might be on the track. So we're consistently looking out the window, looking for any obstructions or any other issues.
Wally has decades of experience driving freight, but none driving people.
Driving a passenger train compared to a freight train is short and relatively heavy, and the power is smaller.
The F unit has less horsepower than modern-day freight locomotives, but its gearing system was designed for passenger service, so it can accelerate much faster.
You need to be on the ball and pay attention to the track ahead of you, because you could injure some people or spill their drinks.
In its heyday, Canadian Pacific wined and dined the rich and powerful from all over the world, including King George VI and his wife Queen Elizabeth, JFK and Jackie Kennedy, and Sir Winston Churchill. Today, Wally has his own royal family on board.
We got some VPs on board. We got the president of the CP Rail on with us today as well, and his family. If you don't want to give him a rough ride and be that guy that is known for bonking the vice president and the president around too much, don't want to get fired today.
At the Sicamous Swing Bridge,
Poppy, you want us to head down the other way and start knocking clips off?
the tracks are clear and Chad's crew is ready to start the big job. The bridge's central pillar contains 2 sets of hydraulic jacks. The team needs to replace the winter rails with summer rails that unlock to allow the jacks to lift and then rotate the bridge. This allows large boats to pass underneath in the summer when the water is high.
The last truck's on the track. They're already tearing apart the rail.
Yeah, basically we're going to be taking out the winter rails, which are just straight running rails through. We clear. These new red rails that we're putting in, they're called Ridex rails, which allows the bridge to open and swing.
The Ridex rails have a special mitered joint that creates a temporary connection when the bridge is shut.
That allows the rail to be able to come apart as the bridge opens and swings, comes back, closes, and the rail contacts again, and it's passable for trains.
The specialized rails are 25 times more expensive than traditional rails, so workers remove them in the winter when the narrows are frozen over.
Button this up, and then we're gonna put that in together.
But that means every spring they have to be reinstalled.
They know the urgency that we have to get the rails in. We've got a 3-hour timeline.
It's too tight, eh?
Yeah, the pinching.
Can we put a bar in there and just spread that a little bit so that you guys can bring it up without knocking all the anchors?
The biggest thing on the back of our mind is delaying the 150. Any delay is going to delay the whole scheduling.
Give that Ridex block just a tap. See if we can spread this open a little bit. Just give it a good one. Good. That's good. That'll work. We've got 1 set of rails in here already. Getting ready to drop in the rails on the other side of the track.
Let me get this end in and drop it in.
Something's binding there. Something's binding. How close are we there?
Is that tight?
That sucks.
Well, we can't really wedge it. Oh my God.
If we don't get those rails in, it looks bad on us.
On the Sycamore Swing Bridge, Chad's crew is struggling to install one of the new rails.
Got the right one. That sucks. Okay, just put it in the middle there for now.
As soon as he lets go of that rail, well, he's grabbing the other one.
They've been trying to fit the rail into the wrong side of the bridge.
Sorry, bud. One set back, we set out one of the rails for the other side by mistake and put it on this side, but we'll remedy that.
Coming down. Coming your way, Chad. Like, swing it. To you. Good. Right there, eh? Jake, give me a spike.
The mistake cost them valuable time. The Royal Canadian Pacific is headed their way on a cross-country journey to celebrate Canada's 150th birthday.
We did this in about a half an hour delay.
"140 kilometers west at the Semlin West turnout.
Well, might as well go and walk the switch.
Roadmaster Rock Ballon is gearing up to swap out a 60-meter section of rail that allows trains to change their route onto another set of tracks.
This switch has given us nothing but problems all winter. We run a lot of trains on this track. It's tired.
100 million tons of traffic moves through here every year.
See how the mud is right in here? So what happens is when it gets wet, the track starts to pump and you can have what's called wheel lift, where it actually lifts up off the rail and goes on the ground.
Switch replacement used to be Rock's specialty before he got promoted to Roadmaster 2 months ago.
I still love building stuff. I love installing stuff. There's a sense of accomplishment when you're done that you don't get from sending emails.
The switch replacement will shut down the main line for 6 hours.
Nice work.
So it's been scheduled for the crack of dawn tomorrow, when demands on the line are lighter.
I think she's done this once or twice. Here's the new switch going in.
To save downtime on the track, the new switch has been pre-assembled, ties and all.
Quite the equipment we need to haul this into place.
Switch replacement is high pressure and high stakes, especially when it will be done in the dark.
There are extreme dangers because we're talking about really heavy, really fast pieces of equipment. It's very serious. I take it very personally, making sure the job gets done right and safely, because not coming home is not an option for me or anybody else that I know.
"85 kilometers east in Kamloops. Canadian Pacific Police Constables Mike Millay and Dave Lucas are securing their beat for the Royal Canadian Pacific's safe passage.
Yeah, the camp's still there, under the bridge.
Right along the rail there.
Right along the rail and right by the entranceway out of the hole under the sign.
Yeah.
Kamloops has a large rail yard in the middle of town. Canadian Pacific has 70 officers to patrol major hubs like this one to keep the tracks secure and the public safe.
Dispatch, Whiskey Kilo 3.
Any funny business happening within 500 meters of the tracks is their business.
Bradley.
Bradley.
It's the police. We just want to talk to you for a minute about your camp.
And Mike and Dave have the same power as any other police officer in Canada.
Say, during the summer, this becomes a shanty town, and lots of homeless people camp down here by the riverbank, so they have to cross the tracks to get to. Come on up.
Yeah. Our concern is that you're coming back and forth across the tracks in order to access the camp. Yeah. So that's a safety issue for us. Obviously, the trains are coming fast, and sometimes you don't hear them. And so,
believe it or not, a train actually can sneak up on you.
I believe it.
If you're standing in the middle of the railroad tracks, very little sound from a moving train travels toward you. Almost all of the sound is directed out the sides. Experienced railroaders may detect a high-pitched singing sound about 30 seconds prior to the train's arrival. But the average person wouldn't hear the train at all until it's too late.
So Bradley's gonna have to pack up here today, clean up all the stuff. Just don't cross the tracks.
See you later. See you later.
Every year, approximately 46 people in Canada are killed as a result of railway trespassing. And Mike and Dave have witnessed some of these gruesome incidents firsthand.
A few years back, a couple young ladies were out on a bachelorette party.
at a local club that's close to the tracks, and there was a train that was stopped at the time, and the bride of the party decided that she would crawl underneath the train. As the train started moving, she got stuck. On her bachelorette party, she became deceased.
Alcohol and drugs are a common theme in these deaths.
Right there. So, drug use. Yeah, heroin. So you got the saline.
There's the spoon. They're shooting up right here, like 6 feet from the tracks, and they're gonna be all high, possibly overdosing right here beside a train.
Spence!
Spencer!
It's the police, buddy. You need to come out and talk to us for a minute, okay?
In this town, Dave and Mike know everybody.
Oh, he got his dog back. Hey, buddy. You got him back. Got him back. Well, that's good.
And everybody knows them.
It's okay. It's okay. Safety is paramount here, and that's why we like to clean some of these camps up.
Here comes the train right now, and this is how close we are.
It's right here, right next to where people decide to try and live.
Just outside Kamloops, the Royal Canadian Pacific is about to pass right by Rock Belland.
We're roughly an hour out of Kamloops, and we stayed on the main track here, didn't go through the turnout.
Part of our responsibility is to actually inspect every train that goes by.
Rock is watching out for anything that could pose a safety hazard, like sparks on the wheels.
On the 14.1 CP for Rock Belland, over.
CP Foreman, Rock Belland, 14.1, least answering, over.
Good on the PK, both sides.
Over.
PK, thanks, you gentlemen. Have a great morning.
And you as well, from Rock Belland.
With the inspection complete, they can resume normal track speed of 50 miles an hour.
That's it for the restrictions there, Wally. That's it. No more. It's all about timing, keeping a schedule. Yes.
In North Bend, BC, Jimmy Taylor is starting his 4th week on the steel gangs, replacing worn rails.
So what we're gonna do is what me as a laborer is gonna do every day. We're gonna stop at a spot. I'm gonna run ahead and grab a spike maul. I'm gonna smack off all the anchors. Then we're gonna go to the next spot. And then to that spot, I'm gonna grab a spike maul. I'm gonna smack off all the anchors. And then after that, this is where it gets complicated. I'm gonna go to the next spot. I'm gonna grab a spike maul. You get the idea.
Jimmy used to be a part of the Revelstoke crew, but he blew it by behaving badly one too many times. His former boss, Chad, sent him here hoping that the hard work would set him straight.
This job is now a second chance, and I am taking it a lot more seriously. That's one of the reasons why I decided to come out here, to actually take my career a lot more seriously. I like it. I like it a lot.
Can you bring the truck up?
Jimmy's boss, 35-year-old Alina Miller, knows exactly how to deal with her new charge.
Keep working, Wizard. We've got 4 more spots to bang off.
I can't wait.
My job is to make him sweat and almost pass out on track. A few days ago, he was pretty hurting when he came to work, so I worked him extra hard. I don't think he'll be coming to work again like that, I'll tell you that.
She's a good foreman. Pretty annoying sometimes, but good foreman all in all.
Annoying, because what, I make you work? He's actually doing pretty good. He's not really that whiny as everybody thinks he is, and he has been working pretty hard, actually.
"350 kilometers east at the Sycamore Swing Bridge. Chad is counting down the minutes.
So we're looking at another half an hour, right, for you guys?
Yeah.
We're just finishing buttoning things up. Signals is putting on their sensors and getting their bracketry on and ready to go.
There's a sensor on each rail that allows the bridge to open. If that's out of whack, then the bridge won't open.
If this isn't working, nobody in Calgary knows if the bridge is down or up or held up with something.
Still red.
Still red?
That is correct.
There's too much of a gap between the sensor and the steel plate.
Still? Okay, we're good.
The sensor wasn't actually seeing the metal because the sensor was too far down. It's got the signal now, I'm just tightening it down.
RTC bridge job's all done.
And I've got a signal indication.
Thank you very much, RTC. That's all I needed. Foreman Clarko. You're good?
Yes, we're coming. Over.
Thank you, sir.
They finish just under the wire.
I'm very pleased with how this job turned out. Boss is pretty happy.
Everybody worked as a team, and it just came together really smooth. And the guys walked around with their chests out, basically, puffed out. No, you know what I mean? They're happy. Couldn't ask for a better day. They're moving.
With the crews off the track, the Royal Canadian Pacific is cleared to pass. But just as they clear the crossing,
Trainmaster Tracy, Trainmaster Costello, over. So we have a cable or something hanging off the side of the car. It looked like fairly substantial. Nothing that came off the car, but we caught something.
Wally and Alan have been forced to make an emergency stop of the Royal Canadian Pacific train just outside Sicamous, BC.
There was a report of a cable on top of a car that may have done some damage. The conductor and the trainmaster are going to get out and they're going to see if they can find out what happened with it, what we hit.
Aboard is trainmaster Mark Roussel, who takes charge in situations like these.
How far back is it? Which car is it, Justin? It'll be one of the newer aluminum cars.
Luckily, a train is stopped on the opposite track. It will provide the vantage point the crew needs to look for the loose cable.
1401, whenever you're set, Wally, if you want to pull ahead easy, about 8 coaches or so for a sec.
1401, going ahead, 8 cars.
Okay.
So this would be the dish here.
Mark is the one who saw it, and he suspects the cable may have come loose from a satellite dish.
I'm not seeing the cable on this side yet. Okay, now why not? Because when you stop, the cable's on the other side?
You got 2 dishes over here, but everything looks fine over here on my side.
There's no sign of the dangling cable anywhere.
Good to go here?
Good to go. No damage to report. The train's all yours when you're ready to go, 1401.
Okay, we're just about to head in and we'll be on our way.
1401 east clear. Don't see any other safety issues or anything else, so we're able to carry on.
If it was a cable that was long enough, it could damage wayside equipment, signals. You get caught up in our brake rigging. Hopefully no more issues across the road and we get to our destination.
In North Bend, on the steel gangs,
Let's go. We're holding up production.
Alina and Jimmy have just one day to replace 90 meters of worn rail.
There shouldn't be anything too special about today, just swinging hammers. Just gonna be a basic day. Surprisingly enough, I do actually keep up. I'm pretty good up front, honestly, as a laborer, so.
He has no idea that Alina has an extra special test in mind.
He likes to talk the talk. We're gonna see what he's really made of.
Do you want to do some grind?
I mean, I'm not really dressed for PPE or grind.
You can use his hard hat and his leggings.
The rails need to be stripped of rust, dust, and grime before they're welded onto the new track.
Extra sweaty today, I can't wait.
Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Right-handed? So, yeah. Straddle the rail like this and go that way.
All right.
I don't think he'll be bitching about how easy front end has it anymore. After about the 3rd grind, your arms are like...
I've cut a lot of rail, but grinding is pretty bad because you've got to hold the saw at this awkward angle while bent right over, moving up and down. I definitely have a lot of respect for the other guy doing it. He does about 19 of these a day, I think. Yeah, and I'm already dead on this one. Grinding sucks.
Despite the whining, Jimmy has managed to impress his boss.
Jimmy's sweating a little bit back there right now, but he's already bumped up twice in pay today.
As the Royal Canadian Pacific pushes east, thousands of CP workers across the country prepare for the night shift. This is when the biggest track repair jobs are carried out. It's 3:30 a.m. Roadmaster Rock Belland is heading to the Semlin West turnout for tonight's ambitious switch replacement.
I hope this rough road isn't messing up my hair. Okay, here we go. Everybody's on standby. We're gonna be ripping out the old track, throwing it in the weeds, digging out the ballast, and then reinstalling this new piece of track.
The switch is 60 meters long and weighs 55,000 kilograms. Rock's crew will have to remove it in 3 parts, starting with the front section, where the tracks start to separate.
Right from the start, we got 6 hours, so the pressure's on to get it done.
Rock has an arsenal of machines primed to help out. 3 excavators, a 980 loader, a crane, and a special tamping machine designed to level the freshly laid ballast, which supports the tracks.
Yeah, the whole track's coming up.
The machines must work in perfect unison.
Good, good.
Okay, this way, so whatever works.
If switch replacement were a symphony, Rock would be the conductor,
Hello, Vern, can you come in here?
and Vern, in the excavator, would be first violin.
Okay, clear. Nope.
Rock, what do you need?
Can you up a little more there, Vern?
Hang on.
But Vern can't carry the tune alone. It takes Harold, in the second excavator, to help lift the massive piece of old track safely into the ditch.
Harold, over here. Down. Good. I've always enjoyed doing utility work. It's fun because I walk into an old, junky, worn-out turnout, and by the time we're done, it looks good. I like that.
Let me know when you're ready there, Rock.
Yep. Pull into you, Harold. Watch yourself, boys.
There you go. Slide her down there. There you go. There you go.
You gotta pay attention. Making a mistake out here gets you killed, plain and simple. We've got the track ripped out. We've got the switch machine apart. It's a very expensive piece of gear here we got moving.
The switch links to computers in Calgary, 1,000 kilometers away, where rail traffic controllers can switch the direction of the tracks remotely.
Harold, are you gonna start digging the points out here? I'm gonna try and make it as close to level as possible so that there's less surfacing time. Gotta go down some more, probably another 5 inches. It's gonna make a big difference for how fast we can get clear. The time crunch is right from the beginning, right to the end. It doesn't go away till you're done.
Jody, can you pick up a bit more?
In the Rockies,
Let's pull back around into the front of the general yard office here.
railroad cops Mike and Dave have had a report of trespassers in the local rail yard.
Only track 3 is leaving tonight, right?
Yes, so if they were gonna jump on something, this would be the one.
This would be the one they're on, yeah.
The rail yard has 16 separate tracks and handles more than 3,000 cars every day.
Lots of hiding places.
With so many trains coming and going, it's an ideal place for freight hoppers to catch a free ride out of town.
Check the handbrake. Handbrake looks good, so yeah.
Freight hopping is as old as the railroad itself. In the early 1900s, migrant workers and homeless job seekers rode the rails looking for a better life. Hobos used to jump on moving freight trains so they wouldn't be caught. It was illegal and dangerous, and idealized as a symbol of freedom. Modern freight hoppers have to hide better.
Not here, eh?
No, I don't think he's here.
All right, let's go.
The trains and tracks seem clear, but just as they leave the yard,
Holy let's go, Dave.
Okay.
they spot 2 cars speeding through the railway crossing.
Yeah, they're ripping. That wasn't cool at all.
What was it? What kind of vehicle?
Silver Lake Ultima.
Go. You're good.
think it's this guy right here.
Oh, yeah, it's that one right there. He's doing second one in.
Second one in?
Just giving her, yep.
Yeah.
In Kamloops, Canadian Pacific Police Constables Mike and Dave are pursuing 2 cars they saw speeding through the railway crossing.
There they are right there. This way.
Yeah, I'm gonna go right. It looked like that newer car, so I'm not sure if this is him or not.
They catch up to one of them.
Guy and a girl.
Dispatch Whiskey Kilo 2. Code 3 traffic. Lands down in 10th. Hello, sir. How are you tonight?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. You just came down Lawrence Street? Passing people?
No, I did not pass anyone, no.
Okay. Why are you nervous, brother?
I don't know. I've never been pulled over before.
Everybody's out here kind of horsing around street racing. Is that the thing, or?
We all just came from a meeting.
We had a vehicle pass us while we were in the yard at a high rate of speed, and we caught up to this vehicle, and it looked like it was ready to do a brake stand at the lights.
So who's the guy that drives the silver car? Okay.
Does he know him?
Yeah, they're all together. That's an industrial area where a lot of people work, like CP works and all those employees. He was doing between like probably 100, 110 when he went by that guy. Do you know that that's a arrestable offense for dangerous driving? That guy's gonna kill somebody. Like that is like stupid driving. In town, like there's a place for that, it's a racetrack. Okay? That's your lecture for the night rather than a ticket. Okay, have a good night, you're free to go. We caught him.
It's freaking nice we did. We caught right up to him. Because I knew he was going to get stuck in traffic.
It was that silver one that we, the guy was looking at us like this when he was all like... I'd have gave him careless driving.
That totally.
But the lecture was pretty good.
Oh, perfect. You're the man. You were made for this.
That's good. Keep going, Len. Your way, your way.
At the Semlin West turnout,
Hold it, hold it.
Down.
Roadmaster Rock Balland and his team have been working since 3 a.m. to wrestle the new 55-ton switch into place.
Hopefully we didn't wreck it.
No, I think we're good. Let's go down a little bit, boys. Okay, good. I need you guys to come towards me. And whoop, right there. Okay, down just a little bit. Right there.
As dawn breaks, they finally position the new track in place.
7:15. We're under a bit of a time crunch as per usual. We're gonna be cutting our close.
Now they need to attach the new track to the old section.
So Harold, we'll start right up here. We're gonna realign the old track to line into the new turnout. That's different angles, it's a different length switch. A little more, Harold, if you can.
This is a critical point in the operation.
Perfect, good. It's gotta come in a bit.
All edge and tie, yeah, you can see it starts to get more gradual going down there.
If they can't bend the old track to join up seamlessly with the new piece, it could mean hours of extra work.
Oh, good. Can you go up a little more, Harold? That's pretty much it, eh? Okay. Can you come down a little bit on the tail end there? A little bit? Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Okay, drop her down there, Harold. A little more, Vern. Go!
Good. Jack that up now.
There you go. Okay. And then down. Oh, right there. Hold it there. Hold the bolt. There's a lot of pressure, super high stress. There's a lot riding on it. Yeah, we were kissing it when we should have been slapping it. You've got potential derailments if you don't get it right.
You're doing them all the same way.
I really don't care. Okay. Let's tighten those up. Bolter! Bolter!
Time is it? We're still pretty good, dude. We're real close now. Yeah, we'll be right on the bubble.
Final task, lay down the ballast.
Ballast is the rock that holds the track in place.
All 40 tons of it.
It interlocks together. It's all angled. Once you vibrate it together, the trains run over it. It actually creates a really good structure for the tracks to sit on.
I think you dumped a bit too much rock, Rock.
Listen, you know that you can never have enough rock. The pressure's off now, right? You can relax a little bit now. we're pretty much in the clear with 5 minutes to spare. So our boys did a great job today. Nice work, buddy. Once you surface it and you get to watch the first train over it, it's a good feeling. Not as good as a nice steak, but pretty good.
200 kilometers east, a second crew has taken over the controls for the Royal Canadian Pacific's journey.
All the years of working here at CP, this is the first time I'll be running this train, so it's really exciting.
At the helm is engineer Gord Meadows, and riding shotgun is conductor Garth Dimturco.
CP14, not 1, east, clear signal.
Clear.
They're just 60 minutes from Revelstoke.
This is an area where you got to keep your eyes open and watching because it's around the rock bluffs here. Could be rocks, or you see a lot of mountain goats down here sometimes that I don't like hitting anything.
Especially on a unit like this where you don't want to be the guy that wrecks this unit. I only got 6 years in. I got a long time to be that guy if we hit something with this thing. So.
Ahead of the train in Revelstoke, crowds are gathering in anticipation of this historic train's arrival.
It's a big deal. Prime Minister of Canada is going to be in Revelstoke, our hometown. It's going to be a huge thing. We're going to have a big party. There's going to be a concert, barbecue.
With work on the swing bridge complete, Roadmaster Chad Deschamps heads to join the welcoming party.
Everything went smooth, and the train's en route. We're done. We feel really good that we made this happen.
CP Roadmaster Chad Deschamps, Assistant Roadmaster Curtis Attic on 11.
But all it takes is one call.
Curtis Attic, Roadmaster Chad Deschamps, go ahead over.
And Chad's happy place comes crashing down around him.
Broken right through, and she didn't see that? Broken all the way through. My 10-year-old can see that.
The Royal Canadian Pacific is due to arrive in Revelstoke in less than an hour.
This bottom piece is ready to fall right out, eh?
But Chad has just discovered a broken rail that could bring the historic train to a halt.
That's unacceptable, eh? I mean, you guys go up and down these tracks, right?
I know.
Yeah. Like, this is a huge indication something's wrong.
We need to throw in a rail at 1234 N.
What's the problem there?
We got a broken rail. North rail, north track, right at the poly. Unfortunately, today we found something that needs immediate attention. It happens. Things get worn out, they break, we find stuff. It's just, this is not the day that you want to find this stuff.
It's going to be tough rounding up an emergency crew on such short notice.
Hey, Chad?
Ah.
Chicken can't work late today. He said he's got his heart medication at home. He hasn't had it. He's got to get there and get it.
I'll phone Chicken right now, and I'll go to the pharmacy and get him some heart medication.
In North Bend,
At this point during the day, we're up against trains. Now, if you notice, trains can't run on no tracks here, so we gotta get this going before they start telling us.
Jimmy Taylor has been doing such a good job on the production gangs that Alina has put him in charge of the rookies.
Look at how innocent he looks. He has no idea what's ahead of him.
You're kind of like the older brother I wish I never had.
From what I've seen, Jimmy's really stepped up his game. He's really developed a lot. So I got him to take the green vest under his wing, and I hope that he's mentoring these new hires that are coming out in a professional way.
I'd like to say you're doing a good job.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to say you're doing a good job, but I'm just kidding. Now, he's one of my favorites that I forgot his name completely.
After a troubled start on the railroad, Jimmy seems to be finding his place and is even working up the ranks.
Give it a good whack, hard as you can. As much as I joke around or play around with the guys, I take my job 100% seriously. There's nothing in the rule book that says that we can't have fun at work. See, on the railway, it kind of works backwards. So when I'm giving you a hard time and insulting you, see, I wouldn't do that if I didn't like you.
Constructive criticism.
It's constructive criticism, giving me wisdom now. Giving the wisdom.
Being sent to the steel gangs may be the best thing that could have happened to Jimmy.
Here, I actually feel needed. I feel wanted.
I have this new feeling of confidence that I never had before. And I'm literally happy and excited to come to work almost every morning. I walk down the hallway of my hotel with a big smile on my face and singing a song. The guys are like, "Shut up, Wizard, stop singing," but I'll keep singing away.
I'm really proud of where he has gotten to so far, but he is still very young and he still needs guidance, but I think he's on the right path.
Good job, boys. First round's on me.
Woo!
The Royal Canadian Pacific is now just minutes away from Revelstoke.
CB14 now 1 east, clear signal approaching to Revelstoke.
But Chad is still scrambling to fix the broken rail.
Is that enough clearance here for you?
But from there to here, anchors off, spikes pulled on the high side.
He managed to scrape together an emergency crew. But it doesn't mean they're happy about it.
Right when I wanted to go home on time, eh, Trav, have beer?
That's the way it always goes, buddy. That's railroading. That is railroading at its finest. Okay, fire in the hole. Tight.
It puts us behind the 8 ball.
Okay, down. Down, Jeff?
The urgency level goes way up. We can't waste any time.
Oh.
With the Royal Canadian Pacific on their doorstep, Chad's crew is racing to the finish line.
Okay, fellas, hey, thanks. I'm gonna go.
These fellas got it under control. You staying here, you're gonna go. You know, 17 minutes so far, they got the rail in drilled. They just gotta get the bars on. Good job today. It doesn't stop. You just get used to it. Then you got your days that nothing happens, then you start to worry, because it's just too good.
Minutes to get stopped. We're here. Got here on time.
With the tracks finally clear, the historic train rolls into Revelstoke.
It's always nice when people are waving at you and want you to blow the horn. And it's pretty neat. Not everybody wants you to blow the horn and wave at them.
Absolutely once-in-a-lifetime experience, awesome time, and great trip. I wish I could do it again.
Well, I guess that's it.
That's her. Good trip.
Good evening, how you guys doing?
You can have all the machines in the world, but to deal with the Rockies, you have to have a team to go with it. The men and women that work here, tough mentally and physically. You're away from home, and it's a lot of work. You got to really have your head in the game.
Most of the world would see a railroader as a tough, rugged man, dirt all over his face, with a big, thick beard and a hammer over his shoulders. But honestly, what you think railroaders are isn't what they actually are. Railroaders come in all shapes and sizes.
I've worked many other places. I've done the 6-inch stilettos, hair done, you know, and this, I thoroughly enjoy this. I like the fact that I can work around a bunch of guys and just be who I am, and they take me as I am.
The best things about the job is it's constantly changing. There's always something new that you got to go do. The worst thing about the job is there's always something changing, and you never get to build a plan for very long.
Railroading does get in your blood. You need to care about what's going on out here to do the job properly.
I love everything about CP. I sound like such a suckle right now, but it's totally true. I love it out here.
This train is an example of how we bound the two oceans together and connected people from coast to coast. It's great to see everyone to continue to celebrate 150 years. All right, Canada! All right, BC! All right, Revelstoke!